So what I'm about to bring you are mentors, mentees, collaborators who read. Think about it. We have Joe P. coming up, who had vision and saw Christine. Christine, who had vision and saw me. Brad, who had vision and saw me. Barry, who had vision and saw me. Oh, and now it just sounds like it's all about me. No. Laura, who met Christine through John Talenzer's show that they did together, who Christine met Laura and Laura met her. We have a tribe. I bring this up because in the audience right now, your tribe is here. And we're on a stage sharing information to help you, to help us, to collaborate together. So I would like to introduce without further ado, Joe Panebianco, Christine Beckwith, Laura Brandao, Brad Lee, and Barry Habib. This is your time to ask questions. Let's do it. Let's get active and let's make this a great ending climax to the 2020 Vision Summit. Christine?
Yay,
I'm going to sit over here. Laura, sit over here. Be comfortable. Spread your leg. Well, no, that's weird. Guys, gosh, you get me going. So, first question, and please stand up. If you have a question in the audience, go by the mic. I'll see you and we'll call on you. How about that? I'm going to start it.
Spread your legs.
Barry, what's your biggest takeaway in modern marketing so far?
Hi. My biggest takeaway from modern marketing so far, there's so many, so it's kind of hard to really kind of focus on one, but I think the general theme is to take action on doing it. You know, there's a lot of good ideas, but nothing happens until you take action. I remember I had the pleasure of sharing the stage with Mike Allen, who was a 6-time triathlete, and Mike told me the story how when he was getting into it, he was very, very good at distance running and cycling, but he had a weakness on swimming, and he did everything. He spoke to people, he read every book, and his coach eventually said, Mike, you realize at some point you have to get in the water. So that's what I would say to people, is that you've heard a lot of things today that I think are very meaningful. I think Christine just did an incredible job of putting together some really good
Yes.
So I think that the main thing for you is to take it and put it into action. That's what I would say that's the most important thing for you.
Christine?
Again, I think that you have to start all things with steps. And so I find like the hardest trajectory towards our dreams or plans is that we do vision the outcome at the start of something. We desire something in the end of what we're going after, but we don't measure the distance between the starting point and where we need to go. And so even in the very beginning of what we teach in curriculum for 2020, we break the distance, the very beginning of a conversation, and this is the foundation of business planning, is the distance between A and Z in this scenario. And understanding what step 1, 2, and 3 is. And so many people just want to, they have the impatience. I see so many people not take action, even on a to-do list daily, because its totality is overwhelming when they look at it. It's too much, all at the view.
Laura, how do you do, I see your videos all the time. You're literally saying yes every day with social, on media. How do you do it? How do you psych yourself up?
So,
what's your process?
One trick I started with when I decided that I was going to do this is I had to hold myself accountable, right? You have to hold yourself accountable. So I decided, well, heck, if I come up with a motivational Monday, well, that's going to hold me accountable because every single Monday I have to do this. So use those little tricks that sometimes be true to yourself, show yourself, to answer the question of the takeaway. Guys, you don't have to be anyone you see here. You know why? Because you're you. And you are the best, most magical you there is in this universe, and all you need to do is share that you to the people that need to hear your message. And once you do that, everything else will flow.
Very true.
Brad, good segue to you. There's something that you came up with. I heard it from you first, the intentional content. How did that come up? What led to that? And how's that helped you? Because we didn't get into that in the keynote.
Well, the intentional content idea was just, you want to be where the eyeballs are, right? So if people are searching for something, and the majority of the people are searching for it, well, you want to be seen there. So I decided to figure out, there's Google Analytics and there's various platform or software that you can use that says, what are people searching for? So I just get a list of what people are searching for, and then I always start out the videos with that. And then I loop it to whatever it is I'm trying to cover. So like one time it was how do fat guys get laid? And so I said, fat guys get laid by, learning how to close. And then you just attach it to what it is you do. Learning how to sell, having confidence, right? Get rich, it works.
How many views and comments did that get?
Oh, ridiculous amounts. But what's funny is people are logging in, how do fat guys get laid? And all of a sudden up pops me talking about closer school. Next thing you know, 1,000 people buy closer school for $397. And I wasn't even talking about how fat guys get laid. The other one was how to get your wife to stop spending money. And I know something about that. So all I said is, here's how you get your wife to stop spending money. Number one, quit looking. Why don't you start making some more money and quit worrying about what she's spending?
Yep.
Yeah, like
Good save.
For all wives. Yay!
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, if you're worried about your wife spending all the money, I think you need to focus on making more. Make so much money she can't spend it all. That's the goal.
Wow, anybody have to piggyback on that?
I've got an ex-wife that would refute that.
Joe, what's it like to as someone, CEO and now you step more on top of the business, right? You're no longer the CEO. What's it like to speak and teach, having that not been your background, but put yourself out there as a CEO? I say this because I think that as businesses evolve, that's going to be more and more necessary because people connect with people, not brands first. So what's it like and what's it been for you to do that?
It's been great. I would tell you that each person is an asset. And as an asset, each person then has its highest and best use, right? And so your highest and best use as an asset will change over time. And so each one of you are in organizations now that as they grow, you're going to have to let go of more. And to the extent that you can put your ego down and let better people than you take things over, it just elevates you, all right? So the best thing that I can tell you is if you got people, I've said it before, surround yourself with people you can trust, and that can help elevate the organization. Give them autonomy, give them the ability to succeed, and then when they're ready to take the reins, let them take the reins. And those are the people who will run through walls for you, and eventually you can sit back on stage and talk about it, right?
Wow.
But it's a process for sure.
What's it been like for you each of you can answer this, to teach? What does that do for you personally, and then, generally with business? What's been the ROI? Barry, you've taught a lot of people. We can start there.
Teaching does help you learn better. It's something
Yes.
that I firmly believe in. And all of us, as we teach, it means that you have to really understand the subject matter. You get questioned. You have to think more deeply. You have to really go through your thoughts. So teaching is really critical. We get a chance to do that every day with our kids, if you have children, but really with your teammates, with your referral sources, and with your customers. Most importantly, when you're sitting with them, you're really teaching. And if you are not in a position that you feel that I don't mean teaching them in a condescending way. I mean sharing ideas with them, enlightening them, letting them see things that they didn't think of before, so they get that aha, oh, wow, oh, what am I going to miss if I don't do business with you? If you don't feel that you're at that level, then don't say, oh, I wish I was, then just do something about it. Just raise your level of expertise, because that will be what transcends price. It's the reason you don't negotiate with your doctor. You don't sit down and after the doctor talks to you say, yeah, but can you do any better on the cost of the visit? You don't do that, right? So it's because they're in such a position of authority and value creation and advice that it is beneath the decorum to negotiate with them. So if you bring that value to the experience with your referral source or with your client, then they won't negotiate price with you. You know, I'm not going to say it's 100%, but it's going to be very rare that you're going to have somebody try to negotiate price because they get so much value.
Did it become easier to overcome that potential objection, or did you see it come up less the more you put yourself out there on stages through the morning update and the things that you did that
you know,
really showed your knowledge?
Of course,
Did that get easier?
and everybody gets a chance to do that with social media because then you gain familiarity. Then if you're putting out content that, you know, it's fun to do fun stuff, but if you're putting out value that people are learning from and you're developing a following, you walk into that real estate office, you get in front of the customer, and if you pre-sell yourself, if before you even meet with the customer or your initial call, you're sending them some of your educational videos, the meeting that they're going to have with you is going to be extremely different because they'll have familiarity, they'll already have trust, they'll already have respect, and they'll know that they're dealing with somebody special. And that's really what you should be. You should be that someone special. And before, you know, just the heart of war, Sun Tzu, you know, you want to win the battle before it's fought.
Yeah.
How has Christine, how have you seen, you know, you've been now involved 3 years in teaching, you know, thousands of people. What's been obvious to you of how the industry is evolving coming from outside of it, having that unbiased, I would say less biased perspective of being outside of it? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, you know, of course, when we
The
started,
educational industry.
yeah, when we started the consulting firm, it's hard to, in a new area for me strategically, to understand where it might go based on the markets. So consulting for this industry is an interesting thing because you wonder if like a good market's going to mean that you're needed more, or is a bad market going to mean that you're needed more? And so I found it interesting last year when we were all flooded with business, right? And so there wasn't a lot of problems in terms of like, show me how to get more production. But there was a complete other set of problems. There were people that couldn't scale. There were people that couldn't service. There were people that couldn't, you know, were losing the battle to a work-life balance. There were people that were drowning. And so we had so many people seeking our help. They didn't know how to balance what the load was. Because, you know, running your business is not just about getting to a productive level. That is one problem that has to be solved. And scaling is terribly difficult. So I would tell you, in teaching, I am looking for people to first solve to the problem. They will come to me, this is I use this metaphor, people will come sit on my doctor's table, and if you don't advocate for what's hurting you, really, I can't give you the correct medicine. And I can't tell looking at you, just looking at you at the start as what I'm dealing with until I roll up some sleeves and get into some analytics. But when I do, I often find, interestingly, people are not advocating properly for their greatest needs. They're telling you what they think they're there to do, but they're not really telling you their greatest, what I know to be their greatest deficit or their greatest threat to their business. But it gets exposed through the process that we take, and then together we arrive at what that diagnosis and then eventually prescription will look like.
Piggybacking that, who would like to get near the mic and tell us something that you're struggling with so we can work through it? How's that sound? David, right?
George.
Dang. How that happened? George,
So 50-50
where's the mic?
shot.
I can't see.
Dave or George?
Yeah, please go to it, George.
I don't think he needs a mic. I think he's
Well,
okay.
for them,
Yeah, I
right?
Oh, well, I think he's good without it.
George, you don't need a mic.
Go ahead,
All right,
George.
just yell.
George.
Loud enough you can hear me.
Yeah.
I'm George Berkeley. I'm from Goshen, Indiana.
No, they want it on the microphone.
Up, we'll get on that mic. Curious George, let's do it. Hey, give George a round of applause for participating.
Hey, are we on? You hear
Yeah.
me? Okay. I'm George Berkeley. I'm from Goshen, Indiana, up in the northern heart of Amish country. But mortgage broker for 25 years. By the way, Brad, enjoyed your comments. I came out of 11 and a half years in the car business, 8 and a half as a sales manager, brother. Been through the same thing that you went through. But being a mortgage broker for 25 years, small shop, I working 80 hours a week, and I tell you, I met Christine out at AIM Activate a year and a half ago. And over the last 2 months, I've lost 3 people that are very close to me. And running 100 mile an hour, and just like everybody else, we're all screwed up to, we have our deep-seated emotional issues, but having a couple of conversations with Christine really opened my eyes up to a lot of things, because I'm a freaking control freak, like a lot of us. I'm working till midnight, 1, 2 a.m., because whatever it takes you do to get done. When I was coming in just now, I had a little problem to take care of, and I'm cussing about frickin' realtors when I walk by Barry. But the bottom line is, I figured I'm offloading a bunch of stuff that I don't need to do. My 29-year-old liberal millennial son is coming into my business. He's coming from the dark side over, finally. And I have good support staff. So what Christine has done, actually just kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things that I need to offload to free up time to do the things that I do real well, which is closing freaking deals and having a life at the same time. My wife is just retired from school.
George, hold on. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Well, no, this okay, I'm getting into that, it's the getting engaged to get all that shit working. I mean, this is what we get into, is that when you look at how do I make this all work at this point in time moving forward, the social media thing, I think is going to be the thing that takes me to the next level. So what's the recommendation to do at this point in time moving forward?
Who would like to answer that based on George's very honest, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Thank you.
And George, great job identifying as to what it is you need. And by the way, you're an extreme pleasure for me to have. And I thank you for bringing your business to our firm. I would just tell you that as you offload these things and you get all the people in the right positions, it's going to free up a lot of time. And I think all of us are seeking proactive business management. If you can't work on your business, if you're in a position of management, and I would argue that even at any level, if you're a loan originator, you are the CEO of your own business. If you are not working on your business, 50% of the time, I compare that to being at the helm of a ship, but you are not at the helm of the ship. You're down underneath inside the boat, and you aren't captaining your ship. You don't know where it's going. You're not prepared for a storm. If you can't see the road ahead of you, you can't protect the vessel. You can't protect the people in the vessel. You just can't do that. And so it's very dangerous. If you are in your business so much that you can't have that foresight, you're in a dangerous position. So you're going to end up having a ton of social media. You're in the right place with us because we're going to certify you in 5 ways. And I'll just tell you that I'm going to take that journey with you, and so will my team. So,
Who else had something they want to ask? Please. The question. A round of applause.
Is it on? I've got a question. For those of you that do know me.
All right.
No.
Oh, Chris, listen, Chris. All right, ladies first. Come on.
We still doing the mic thing?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Serena Halani with First Option Mortgage from Atlanta. First of all, I want to thank you guys all for your great advice and coming out here to speak to us today. I think you all have a very incredible journey, and you're all very successful where you are today, so it's commendable. My question to you is, if you had to start over tomorrow from scratch, knowing what you have known that has gotten you to this point in your life, what would you do if you had to start over tomorrow, and what would you do different?
Barry has to leave us in a few minutes. You want to answer this first?
If I were starting in the mortgage business today, the first thing I'd want to do is gain expertise, because one of the keys for me is the conversion ratio from conversation to application or conversation to referral. So time is really valuable. And if I'm going to be having a conversation or dialogue with someone, I'd want to gain that expertise. So yeah, things like CMA would be very valuable, but also shadowing people that are very successful as well. And I think that by understanding the questions to ask your clients, understanding what their needs are, not being afraid to ask the personal questions of them, and really looking at a mortgage as a financial tool can really accelerate you. And my whole talk today was on removing points of friction. So understand what the points of friction are. How can I remove them for you? And then clearly amplify that message through social media. Those are the things that I'd be looking at, whether I started tomorrow or whether I've been in the business for 20 years, because I feel that they're applicable. Now, starting tomorrow means that you don't have any luggage with you, but it also means that you don't have as many contacts. So I think it's really vital that you would work as hard as you can to be in front of people, to be attending gatherings, and thank goodness you can do that more right now. But I would try to make as many contacts as I could that would be deep and meaningful so that I can leverage those.
Oh, to piggyback that, just for, you do a morning update, very few people could do that consistently. How do you do it? Because maybe if someone knows something, maybe they're new if they did that.
Consistency, you talked about it earlier, Laura. Consistency is absolutely critical. To do something, kind of like the Karate Kid, karate do is okay, karate no do is okay, but karate maybe do is not okay.
Yeah.
And I believe that I heard from almost everyone here that used the word commitment. This is a commitment to you. So if you're going to set your goal, you're going to be committed to that goal, and you have to understand that just like when a rocket ship takes off, it requires a tremendous amount of effort and inertia to be launched, because you got to break through the gravity. That means you're going to be, everybody talks about life balance. You have to be completely out of balance if you want to start something. You have to say up front, this is going, and whoever the important people are in your life, you have to explain to them that this is going to be a season, a period of total imbalance, because I have to put the work in. Just like if you just had a baby, you just have a puppy, there's a lot of work that goes in those initial stages. Your business is a baby. It needs amazing amount of attention, and everything else gets sacrificed. That's why many people, when they have a child, they don't go to work at the same time initially, because you have to dedicate. So if you're starting, or if you're launching a new idea, you have to throw yourself into it with total commitment.
How long do you think it'll take? Is it 18 months? Is it 12 months of like
I don't
no
think
BS?
it's that long. I think that the learning is constant. And until you feel confident in our industry, we've all experienced this if you've been around a while, you feel off balance because things are changing and it takes a real long time to learn this business. But you can, in the first 3 to 6 months, establish yourself if you do all the right things. If the words you're choosing carry weight, carry authority, then you can very quickly accelerate your business, very quickly. Look, my third week in the business, I wrote 16 loans. Why? Because I was completely committed and I went out every night and I literally knocked on people's doors. And I didn't care. I had one focus. There was nothing that was going to stop me from being successful. And if you have that mindset, then nothing will stop you. And if you're willing to sacrifice, nothing will stop you.
That's awesome. Yep.
Barry, thank you.
Thank you. I've got 15 minutes.
Oh, that makes me
right.
excited. Yeah.
Some sticking power.
Chris, thank you.
Apologies for the other one. I thrive on criticism and critique, and I uphold each of you to be experts, which I think all but maybe you, good sir, probably know that. And my question is this. What do you see me do or doing that's harming my mission or the men and women that are supporting me?
Christine.
Well, I don't know that I heard
He's
it.
looking for a critique.
Of
So
him?
is there anything that he might need some advice on?
I mean, I feel like I know your brand. I was just bragging about you to Joe
He was.
in the back of the room. And I pulled up your group. This is no lie. 10 minutes ago. You have 38.6 thousand followers in your group. And the reason I was sharing that, so it's kind of hard for me to critique because I got to go in a completely different direction here. I like that you're asking that question. And, you know, you're authentic. You just raised $200,000 for the homeless, shaving a beard that I know means the world to you. You know, I don't know. I would tell you that to keep asking that question, honestly, of your team. You know, one of the things that I came into that I was not always good at was understanding and that my team needed to tell me, you know, what was wrong with them or what their bandwidth, when they hit their bandwidth. I wasn't good at that. I just, you know, was always a driver. So somewhere in my leadership, I realized it was really important. And I don't know that you don't do this, But not knowing whether you do it or not, I would tell you a great lesson for me has been that every Friday we have a meeting, and the questions are, what are you doing that feels redundant? In other words, tell me how to lead you better. You know, what are you doing that you think is a waste of time? I welcome you to tell me that I told you to do something that doesn't need to be done. Where do you think we could save money? Where do you think we're hurting people? Where do you think we're neglecting people? You know, and then I always say, shut your computers off today and go be with your families and put your out of office on and really be present with your families this weekend and get your rest and have your fun and come back to me, because you'll be recharged and we'll do better work next week, because that's important. And so, you know, those are lessons I learned over time. You know, I wanted my team to work like I did. There was a time when I worked 18 hours a day, and if they weren't doing the same, I looked down on them. I had to grow into, not this particular team, they get the benefit of a better leader because I'm a more mature leader. This team has only known me as a senior leader, but there are teams in my history that didn't. So I would tell you, take that advice and lead your team from a question, just like you are right now.
Can anyone else give him some critiques? Other than that, maybe you should have just kept the beard off for a little bit. A little annoying, you know, I was looking to see you, you know, in the face, you have a nice, you know, look about you.
Mostly, I'm telling you, I thrive on it, and I know that if y'all watch me enough to have problems with me, tell me why I'm hurting, where I'm hurting my mission, and my people supporting me.
Do you know anything? No. No. Anyone else? Because you all know brokers.
Can someone help Chris that knows him? Anybody? Please go to the mic. Let's get it.
Oh, here they come.
Line up. Let's line up. This is a team effort.
Okay, I'm a member of Beta VA, a proud member of Beta VA, and I think that there is a big concern with people on how they moderate, that they're going to do it incorrectly. It's not about the information that we give. It's, are we going to disappoint Chris with how we answer this question? And it does feel very, very heavy sometimes. No, it's not. Don't be sorry. You're just holding us to a higher standard. That's all. But that's my perception of it. So.
Hey, round of applause for people. Takes courage to tell the truth.
I want to just add to that, just like Nate put out some cliff notes of things that we can do when we're moderating, things to follow through with. Like when you approve a post and you give a little tidbit of information about answering that post, follow that post. Follow up with the additional comments. So I totally agree with Chastity, because I find some reluctancy, even though as involved I am with social media, I find reluctancy to answer in an improper way, or to not give the best information where I may not know all the information. It's great for someone to go behind me and support what I've answered, or maybe fill in some holes. So I think it would be better if everyone knew kind of some cliff notes of things that we can do to help support the community better and kind of create that vision. We're not always in the same place, so I know on our calls and things like that, for you to share and Nate to share other things that we can do to help support the mission. I just think a little bit better vision.
There you go.
Was there someone else? Are you sure? Wait, remember, what's your name?
Chris, clear to close with Chris, by the way, powered by Lincoln Lending.
Before you say anything, say, hi, I'm Chris, and I am a critic of Chris. No, I'm just kidding. Please go by the mic. It'll be worth it.
Strict rules.
It'll be worth
Strict
it.
rules. Are you feeling it?
We got this.
So here's my question, because I've only been in the business for like 2.5 years, and everybody gives all these great advice all the time. And for a new starting LO, where do you spend your money? That's been the most difficult thing. Now, obviously, I'm doing well and have the money, but what's your advice to the people starting in here? Where do you spend it? Is it coaching? Is it your CRM? Is it lead gen? That would be great, because I don't think a lot of people talk about that.
Brad? Yes.
I mean, I'll
Just spend it.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, money's a tool, and too many times we start out with none, and then we finally get some, and we start to hold on to it because we're afraid to feel like that again, and then we really stunt our own growth. I say, if money's not used.
Brad, your mic's not on. Can you stand here?
No.
Just for.
Hey, it comes off.
Oh, I could actually take it. Can you turn his mic up or something?
You there?
Yeah, please answer.
All right, well, what I was saying is money is a tool, and most people, they start out, kind of with very little, and then when they start to make some, they hold on to it because they don't want to feel broke again. And that stunts your growth. If money cannot be used, like if I gave you $1 million cash, but you couldn't use it, you'd tell me to eventually come get that shit. It's only good if you use it. So when you started naming off those things, yes, it's not one or the other, it's all of them. You spend it on all of them. You keep investing in yourself, invest in advertising, Facebook, CRMs, coaching, teaching, books, seminars, workshops, everything.
I got a couple.
I just want to say it's crazy for me because people are like, what do I invest in? And that people are very willing to chase or invest in something else or someone else. I think you should just bet on you.
Yeah.
It's the best bet you can make. Invest in you. This is your most important investment, as I said earlier, is in your brain. So that's really where you should be focused. Bet on yourself.
So invest in money in the streets, say yes every day, wise eyes, the hard ways on pre-order, and stalk Joe and get him to write a book on stoicism or something like that.
I think it's coming.
Oh,
You wanna
yeah.
commit on this stage?
Oh, really?
Do you want to commit?
Let's do it.
All right. He's wanted to write a book, so he's one of my BFFs, right?
Yeah.
We've been riding a long time.
Long
So you want to make it public? 1
Sure.
year from
1 year.
now?
1 year from
What's it
today.
going to be on?
What do you say, 1 year? We get a book out of him?
Self-mastery.
All right.
Yeah.
Candy, you heard that.
Joe, I have a question. You're very, based on your talks, systems thinker, to me. So could you add or elaborate on what Brad said of how you'd look at it and break it down? Drawing from experience, building over, AnnieMac and how you worked on that business. To answer Chris's question in a sense.
Yeah, I think Brad certainly.
Go ahead.
Brad nailed it, and Barry supported it. The only thing that I would add to that is that that burn the ships mentality, right? If you're going to get into something, it gets back to that 99%, as you heard earlier, is a bitch, 100% is a breeze, right? There's an old saying that when Cortez landed in the free world, he could not get his people to actually build anything because they were so focused on getting back. So one night he went out with a few of his men and he literally burnt his ships and then turned around to the guy and said, now you have a motivation to build. And I would say to do that with your business. So when you're listening to Brad and listening to Barry and that advice, you also have to commit yourself 100% because that is going to be the motivator. If you have nothing, if that's your last backstop, you will find a way. You'll find a way, regardless of your budget or your experience.
Question, yes.
Hi, Mo the Mortgage Lady from Arizona. And actually this is a great way to piggyback on her question over there about spending money. How do you calculate the cost of adding a new employee? Obviously there's investment to bring them onto your team, training, etc. But at what point do you figure out that they are adding? Obviously I know if your units and your volume increase, but is there a magical mathematical formula that we should be concentrating on where each person equates a specific number in volume or units? That's my question for today.
I'll take it. So scaling is a common consulting question, and there really isn't a specific, like, here's your one-size-fits-all ROI calculation. What I would tell you with scaling is it's a long-term commitment for growth, right? So where people run into trouble is if they're going to spend more money than they're spending right now to solve to a certain problem. You have to figure out anticipated production, obviously, that you'll gain from adding. Sometimes you're adding people and cost for efficiency to you, if it allows you to run your business better, which allows you to be proactive, which allows you to market, which allows you to get more production. And so what I would tell you is, the question I always say to business owners is, can you live with the cost if you made nothing in 12 months? And if the answer is yes, I could, then expect an ROI that breaks even by 6 months. And if you have those two targets, you will scale properly. Because here's the mistake most people make, is they hire and they want month-to-month neutralization or lateral profit and loss, and they don't get that immediately. And 90 days isn't enough typically. 6 months is typically the right frame. What do you think, Joe?
I was going to add to that and say that it's an example of your highest and best use again. A lot of the people in this audience, I'm sure they're wonderful salespeople, but that does not make you a good CFO, right? So, and this is just not me, touting 2020, but there's resources for that here. So if you're going to invest in something, you want to know what it's going to cost, you need to have somebody who's got the mathematical or financial background that can map it out for you, all your expenses, and lead you down that path. This way you can focus on the training of that person, you can focus on the recruiting of that person, and they will give you the financial roadmap. But without the financial roadmap, it's been my experience, this isn't a knock on, this is my experience, that salespeople generally are overly optimistic about what's going to be produced and underestimate the amount that it's going to cost. But if you have somebody who's focused on that, it's a tremendous help and will save you a ton of leakage.
Hiring's really important too.
Yes.
Who you hire is important. I always look for 4 things, and it's not experience. It's attitude, aptitude, initiative, and a sense of urgency. So attitude is absolutely critical. Aptitude, you have to be able to catch on to things. If you have attitude, you have aptitude. If you take initiative, you're not going to wait around. You're going to take charge and take initiative, as well as a sense of urgency, because we all like to deal with people who have a sense of urgency. If you're on the phone with somebody, they want to do it right now for you, you are going to be happy as a customer. You're going to be happy as a teammate. So those 4 things, I'll teach you the rest, and you should feel the same way. And then you have a responsibility to either teach that person and invest in them, or have a system that teaches and invests in them. So you can make all the right hires, you can do all the right things economically, but if the time and educational investment is not made, the return is going to come up most of the time short. So you have to make that decision and commitment.
Let's get up for Barry. You got to go, brother?
I got to go.
He's leaving us.
Bye, Barry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate everything.
Brad, you got a question? Please go by the mic.
Hey, love you.
How's it going, guys? So my question's a little bit like that last one, actually, so it's pretty cool. I want to hire, a lot of people want to hire people, and I think that's a really good thing, is how do you market hiring people? Like, I want to hire 20 new title agents in the next year and open 20 new branches. So, like, what's the best way to market that, whether it's on social media or talking to people?
I think
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. You
Yes.
go. So you go.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, the answer is all of it, right?
Yes.
So again, it's not ever one. You don't just pick one thing. You do it all. Number one. Now, do you want to hire them or recruit them?
Well, I want to hire people, that are going to that can help us grow, and I think, Barry was just talking about that, about, obviously having the right systems in place and training them and stuff like that, but really just finding people that can help the company grow and really scale.
Yeah, well, the only reason I ask is because a lot of times people say they want to hire 100 people, but they want to just recruit a bunch of people. Like, the recruiting and hiring are 2 different things in my book. If I want to hire you, I'm going to offer you compensation to come and do a job, not an opportunity that you can make a shit ton of money. So I would have 2 different answers depending on hire or recruit.
I would say hire, because I'm looking for experienced people that I can have for the long run that'll help train people as well. That goes down the line.
Yeah, I would put it all over social media. I'd put it all over Indeed. I'd put it all over Craigslist. I'd put it all over Facebook. I'd ask your grandma to post it on her Facebook. Everywhere.
Yep. And constantly. Recruiting needs to be a constant part of all businesses. If you are at human capacity maximum level, you should still have a B team waiting on the bench. You need to constantly be recruiting. And recruiting is the #1 thing that falls to the bottom of the priority list in our industry. People don't tend to do it well when they're also managing sales. You usually have to hire people that are specific to it. So I would tell you, if you're not doing it well in 60 days, hire someone that's going to do it for you. Yeah, right, yes, because that's your role.
Why do you think people struggle with it?
Because it requires dedicated focus, and it is a full-time job. It is not something that a branch manager can do in any capacity, whether you're title or mortgage or real estate, that I think you're going to do well doing it 2 hours a week. You're just not. And it's a different kind of fishing too, by the way. You know, when I used to sell, I mean, I'm still selling in this program, but I would focus on what I was selling and I would just lock in for a day on this type of selling. If there was a different type of selling, I would do it on a separate type of day, almost like going to a fishing hole with a different bait and a different pole, because shifting gears, you lose efficiency. And if you're a real sales guy, you guys know when you're in the pocket and you're hot and you're on the calls and you're overcoming objections and you want to ring the cowbell and you're like, man, I wish somebody heard that call right now, I'm in. And I tell sales guys, self-recognize when you're in that spot and strap yourself in, because you can do a month worth of sales in 10 hours if you get strapped in the moment. We self-sabotage those moments, but how much time are you dedicating to it?
Laura, you're fantastic with people, and from my understanding, you love that aspect.
Absolutely.
What do you advise? How did you?
But that ties into Christine too. As a leader, as someone that's putting themselves out there representing a branch, a company, whatever, people want to be part of a team following that leader. So when you put yourself out there on social media, when you are putting out that these opportunities are there, it's you they're following. So you have to first be the person that they want to be part of your team, and then they will be coming to you to be on your team, because it's you they want, regardless of the company name.
How did you get them to buy into you?
It's awesome.
Authenticity. Because number one, I have a thing that no one will ever work harder than me on my team. No one. And so my team knows that I will never ask them to do anything that I have not done before or outwork them. So what that does, there's almost, and this makes me actually, I feel bad saying this, but a lot of times my team says, Laura, we push ourselves because we don't want to let you down. And in a way, I almost feel guilty about that, because it's like, shoot, I like put it so high that it's almost like, damn, I can't stop because this woman is going to go even further. But they will run through the brick wall for me.
Yeah.
Brad, do you think that if you were to give yourself a number, 1, you're a sloth. They're not looking at anything other than get the hell out of there. 10, you're on Laura's level. What grade are you giving yourself based on this feedback? Be honest with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think really I'd be at a 10. I just got to market it more on social media. You know, I got to get out there. I feel like I haven't really talked about it as much that I want to hire a lot of people. I think people kind of think we're good where we're at, and we are good, but we want to grow, we want to scale. So I think that's why I wanted to ask you guys that question, because I think a lot of people are probably dealing with that in their business too. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. You got to find the people to hire. So I just thought it'd be a good thing. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, I know I'm a leader, and you know, our team, we have a great team. So that's what I would say.
Well, you have to be the team that everybody wants to be part of.
Yeah, I think we are. So that's,
once you're that, they'll automatically gravitate.
How do you define that 10 then? What is it that you are doing that you define that as a 10?
I would say personally for our team, I think that, you know, we're different, you know, and I know that sounds like, you know, but if people really get to know us, we really are different. So, you know, we want to grow, and a lot of title companies don't really think that way. They don't think outside of the box.
Well,
so,
then tell them why you're different.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway that I have right now is I have to show people why and post it on social media.
Next question.
Hey, thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much. Give it up for him. Brad.
Good question.
Oh, over here. Oh.
That was a good one.
Madison, right?
Hello, I'm Madison. I'm from Annie Mac Home Mortgage. So I've been a loan partner for the last 3 years in the mortgage industry, and I just passed my test in December. So this is my very first year as a loan originator. Thank you. And so the good thing with Annie Mac is that we are given all these different platforms. We have Annie Mac Works. They give us 20/20 vision of success. We get MBS Highway. They give us a Zillow page, everything that you could think of. So right now I have all of these different platforms that they're offering me, and I see value in all of them. But I'm also, you know, there's part of me trying to manage marketing and getting myself out there while also building relationships with clients, and then anyone that I do have, you know, keeping and sustaining those relationships down the line. So my question was, how do you structure your day? Is there like a set day of the week that you dedicate to marketing, or is it like 30 minutes every day? Because I feel like if you're doing marketing every day, it's very time consuming, but too much pre-planning, you kind of lose the authenticity. If you're scheduling things too far in advance, then they're not really relevant to what's going on in the world.
Bradrick Nietzsche.
Why me, though?
You look like you were going. You grabbed the
Come on,
microphone.
this is yours.
We were
Well, I mean,
following the cue.
Again,
How do you do the intentional?
well, like he said, high value, marketing, if you're doing it right, is there's nothing bigger ROI than that. So it's like you're not wasting your time marketing unless you're wasting your time marketing. The funny thing is we're always marketing every single day. The question is, are you doing it well or are you doing it poorly? So if you're doing it poorly, I'd say I wouldn't market at all. I'd go learn how and then do it every day, all day. Because like, again, everyone says, I got to build a personal brand. You have a personal brand. It just sucks. And it's the truth. Like, you have a personal brand already. The second you get a social media profile, or even you're born technically, you have a brand. The question is how many people know about it and what's the promise of that brand? And that's whether it's good or bad. If everybody knows it, look at like Snooki from that show. Snooki.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got a personal brand, right?
Yeah.
So marketing to me should be done on a daily basis, every single day, as often as you can, and like when you have your phone in your pocket, you could have lunch with somebody and do some marketing. Instead of taking a picture of your sandwich, posts have to have value. You ever see those? It's like, oh, my tuna sandwich. Like, tell us how you made the frickin' thing. Like, give me the recipe or something. Like, why am I going to follow you? Because you eat tuna a lot. But if you ate tuna sandwiches and then you had a recipe and I tried it at home and it's like, damn, that's a good tuna sandwich. Now I see your salmon and I'm like, shit. Now all of a sudden I'm a foodie. I'm following you and I'm telling everybody, look at this. Next thing you know, you make a cookbook and you sell 1 billion copies. But if you just posted the picture of your sandwich, nobody cares about a sandwich anymore. So you always have to add value. But anyway, that's a long way to say yes.
Marketing every day.
Every day.
Is there a schedule question in there?
I guess it's more or less like, how do I utilize all the platforms?
There's a time management class in your dashboard
called
Kick the Clock. Who's taking Kick the Clock? Who's certified?
But how does Madison, as someone new coming into this, figure out when to study? Because,
it goes over
we all
that.
say we don't have the time.
Yeah,
Study at night when all your prospects are not available.
There's a high tide. There's a high tide in your day.
Get up early.
Prospecting. Yeah, it's great.
The Miracle Morning.
Win by Noon by Todd Bookspan, another one. I'll get you. I'll help you.
Thank you.
All
So
right.
like an hour, 30 minutes, like I don't, like.
It's more than that. I can't assess
Hour and
that.
30 minutes.
You're asking
An
me
hour
right
and
now
30
on my
minutes.
doctor's table to give you a prescription, and I need to do a physical on
May
you.
I say something on this?
Yes.
I get up early. The phone's on Do Not Disturb. I take a 90-minute bath, and the water runs the entire time. I like it. And I read. My life is about me first, and you. It's not me or you or me. And. It's not either or. It's and. It starts with me, and it's about how I interact with you.
Jay's time
So
management program.
I'm
gonna try this.
Read. I'm thinking.
90 minutes
And then
bath.
I want to interact with humans I can learn from. So every couple weeks, I invest 3 hours in preparation to interview an extraordinary person. Everyone on here has been on the podcast except Joe, because I screwed that up. I've apologized. I had an emotional fit. We got in a fight. It was awful. Hey, I don't want to lie. I can't lie. The point is, don't lie. Time block yourself. Take a bath. When I started Culture Matters, it was with nothing, no help.
He was buck naked.
And it was, of course, I was made fun of. I dressed like a buffoon. Thanks, Jenna. So,
The hashtag's gonna be take a bath.
take a bath. Anyone else like to add to that?
Hey, I think what you want is a little bit of structure and an answer. So I'm going to tell you.
How do you structure your day?
Yeah, you need 45 minutes. Okay. And if I'm wrong, then switch it up.
All right. And we need it.
There you
I'll
go.
come back to you.
To end on time.
Great. I got you. Oh, did you give the...
Well, I'm just saying that there's no magical answer. I could tell you an hour. She could say, I do it 90 minutes. Who cares? Like, go set yourself a time. Just pick one. And then run with it. And if it works, keep doing it. And if it doesn't, change it. There's no magical answer.
Thank you all for participating.
I stay committed that I'll help
What?
you.
One more. This is it.
There's 2 people, though, and she's been standing for a long
Well,
time.
let's do them. Let's commit.
Go fast.
Oh, he was first. Who's first? You go. Me? Okay. So you guys brought up first of all, great question about hiring, and you brought up recruiting. There's a huge difference on hiring versus recruiting. I've worked in business development. My name's Ashley Cragen, but I'd be curious to hear what has been your biggest recruiting mistake that you've made as you've built your guys' careers, and what would you encourage us to do or change and do different to stand out that you've seen success that people maybe aren't doing?
I'll answer this because we're going to go speed round because we need to finish on time.
Thanks.
The biggest mistake people make in recruiting is they adopt people and then they bring them back to the foster home. If you're going to hire someone, if you took a child home in a real adoption and they peed their pants, you would not bring them back to the foster home. You would potty train them. Every time someone comes to me ready to fire someone under 12 months, that's a mistake on the hiring person. Because people don't fail under 12 months unless they have poor training, poor resources, a cultural misalignment, or something. So the number one recruiting mistake is that they don't commit to their hire. That's that.
Last question.
You go,
That was amazing.
Tom.
That was amazing.
My question is, I'd like to scale up my business up to like 250 million. I'm like 5 years in the business, and I'm starting to realize I'd like to, maybe develop more people and develop a team. Last year I tried, but it was very difficult with the, getting separated. So I get a lot of satisfaction over the trust that I build with the clients and taking them across the finish line, and getting those reviews, and it's very scary to kind of let go. What advice do you have, or do you think somebody like myself would be able to get the same satisfaction, hiring people and, working through others to, meet that goal? I mean, I guess my ultimate goal is really, giving great service and that trust.
And are you talking about people that are already hired or people that you want to hire?
No, I'd have to hire and build
So
up
I
the
think because I know you're a 2020 client, that our entire content platform flips for you to be a content provider. And so I think all the managers that are here in the room that are using our content to actually train with, that I would focus over the next 60 days on getting your train the trainer certifications and those certifications that help you become a teacher and a leader, because we have those in the dashboard, so that when you get people in, you can actually bring them through the same curriculum course that you're currently going through to seek your master's student certification, because they're going to need the same path: business planning, time management, sales, overcoming objections, everything that's in that core curriculum. And I'll help you do that too. All right?
Wow.
That's it. All right.
Thank you all.
That's what I was gonna say to that last question, which was what do I do to recruit? And I was gonna say, be prepared, because if you bring people on and train them poorly, it's just a revolving door.
That's it. All right.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
Closing remarks, right?
Christine is going to close this out. Thank you again, Brad, Joe, Laura, and Barry. And Christine.